research proposal. In this course, the research proposal consists of 4 components: an introduction, a literature review, methods and conclusion section, as well as a reference page. The introduction will take your first writing assignment and expand on it to inform the reader of what you propose to test. The introduction needs to have 2 main components. 1, you need to clearly define the research question that's explicitly outline what you propose to test. This should be transparent to the reader, so once they're finished reading this section, they know exactly what you intend to test. 2, there needs to be a selling component. This piece is the why it's important. More specifically, it's great that the reader knows what you intend to test, but why should they care that you want to test it in the first place? This is the ultimate outcome question, the number 3 from the beginning of the proposal. And what ultimately do you hope to get out of this proposed research study? That's the why it's important. Make sure you really sell this piece to the reader. In addition, in the introduction, you need to state in detail who you plan on studying. That's what we will call your sample later on, but the test group that you plan to look at. The second component of the research proposal is the literature review. This section informs the reader that you not only are aware of the existing literature surrounding the topic of choice, but also to inform the reader what that literature suggests. I'm requiring you to find at least 5 peer-reviewed sources that you need to include in your literature review. Within those sources, you need to break each one down the following way. First, you need to summarize what that source says. So, what did they test? What did they find? Secondly, you need to organize them in some kind of logical way. Now, that can be by findings. Maybe 2 or 3 of the studies found the same thing. Or it can be who they tested. Maybe 2 or 3 of the studies tested the same thing. So group them and organize them. The artistry behind a literature review is how you organize and how you frame that argument to show the reader, hey, this is exactly what you need to know, and this is what's out in the world. The third component is the methods and conclusion section. First, let's talk about the methods portion. The methods is where you're going to outline exactly how you propose to design the study that you wish to test. This includes you defining your variables, which will be your independent and dependent variable, explicitly. Your sample, that's who you plan on testing that you have already addressed in the introduction, but now you're really going to expand on it and give detail about who they are, how many people you plan on testing, how you plan to get access to them, and the instrument that you plan to use to test. Are you going to be using a survey? Are you going to be using interviews? Are you going to be using existing secondary data? You need to outline all that for the reader. In the conclusion section, you need to talk about what you would expect to find if you conducted this study. So if I were to test this, this is what I would expect to find. Now remember, we don't use first person, so instead of saying the word I expect to find, you'll use terminology such as this study expects to find, or here it is expected to see blank. In addition, you also need to discuss possible or foreseeable limitations to your design study. What that means is what all criticisms you think might occur because of your proposed study. Remember, no study is perfect, therefore every study will have limitations. Maybe you can't get access to everybody that you need to get access to. Maybe your instrument is old, or maybe it's not contemporary, or maybe you're using a measurement tool that is untested. Maybe it's cutting edge and there's still some flaws to it. Those kinds of things you need to make the reader aware that you understand what limitations are foreseen and lie ahead. The final piece of the research proposal for this course is a reference page. This needs to be an APA. Please use the references and the resources that are on the Blackboard page to identify the reference page. This should be a separate page at the very end of the document that all references cited within the document need to be listed on this page. The page should be organized alphabetically by last name of first author. Again, please refer to the resources given on Blackboard to understand how they need to be defined. All 4 components need to be written, submitted via email to my UNT Dallas email, aaron.bartul@untdallas.edu. by their submission due dates. At the end of the semester, you're going to take all of the corrections that I give you, put all 4 pieces together, and submit it as one document to my email address. Length of total research proposal should be no less than 7 pages. That's 2 pages for your intro, 2 pages for the literature review, and remember you need at least 5 sources, 2 pages for the methods and conclusion section, and at least 1 page of reference. With 7 pages is the minimum, the maximum should be no more than 10 pages. So I want you to really focus on staying between that 7 to 10 page limit. The important thing to note about a research proposal is that it needs to be incredibly detailed, explicit, and inform the reader exactly what you wish to do. If you have any questions, always feel free to email me. Good luck.